Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike, the intern, Ned Reynolds, back together again on a Thursday morning. Team USA gets ready to earn the gold in Paris. Who's going to carry the U.S. flag?
Well, there will be two of them. This is the way they normally do it, male and female. The male carrier, everybody knew that would be LeBron James, and he'll get that honor. And it really is a big honor because it's a show of respect from not only the team members, but from the USA. And LeBron is the NBA's all-time leading scorer. So he carries it for the guys, and the gals' flag will be carried by Coco Gauff, who is really one of our preeminent tennis players. Matter of fact, she's ranked second in the world. Coco did get knocked out at Wimbledon, and she'll have a chance to redeem that at the U.S. Open in New York. But they will be the two flag carriers, and the USA team will march. Opening ceremonies are set for tomorrow night. The actual competition has begun. We'll talk about that in a second. But in terms of the big parade, and it is very much a colorful spectacle, that'll be tomorrow night.
Yeah, it is. All right, speaking of competition, it is very hot competition up in St. Joseph, Missouri. Already seeing some players getting each other's faces. This team is fired up. But we do got to talk about the Rashee Rice situation. Obviously, he was involved in a traffic incident in the offseason. From what I've heard, there's probably not going to be coming a suspension this season.
We'll see, because it's kind of a critical date that they've set the trial for, December the 9th. Well, the season's still going on December the 9th. As a matter of fact, the teams are in their stretch run prior to the playoffs. Trial date is set for December 9th. Well, what happens after that? And that's where the Chiefs are in limbo, because they've had no word from the NFL whether or not a suspension will happen this year. A suspension will happen.
Oh, yeah,
There's no question about that. And how long it's going to be. I'm guessing the better part of a season.
You're saying a full season?
No. The better part of one. You have 17 games. I would say maybe 12, somewhere around there.
I was at 6.
Yeah, I can't remember the seriousness of this accident.
Yeah, but at the same time, we've seen people do worse and get less.
Yeah, but this is hit and run, and they did not stay around. But that's over and above the case. What will happen December the 9th? Apparently, Rashee Rice will be allowed to play, and there's no reason why he couldn't, because he's not in jail or anything of that nature. But they will have December the 9th well into the season, and will the NFL come down with their penalty before, after, or will they come down with one this season? That's where the Chiefs are in limbo. What do they do in a receiving corps? It's a big puzzle for them.
It is, but at the same time, they've got a lot of talent, and you're seeing a lot of competition for those spots in St. Joseph, Missouri, as I mentioned earlier. And yesterday, Tony was, I guess, he was doing kind of a whiteout thing.
It was at the crossing tower.
Yeah, and Karlaftis came in and laid him out.
You have to understand, folks, at this time of the year, they are hitting in camp. It's not little touch football or anything like that. They're getting their tackling drills down, and Karlaftis laid him out.
This is what I wanted to ask you, though. We still don't have pads on yet. They've got those big, giant Lego helmets on. I think the issue was, man, and he came in at it's one thing to be in that situation, especially when you've played and you turn real quick and something happens and you run into each other, but you could see Karlaftis leaned into him hard, and then, of course, Kelsey jumped up, got into his face. I mean...
Yeah, well, Kelsey did that after Tony had gotten up and thrown the ball at Karlaftis. Now, you have to understand now, folks, this is training camp.
Yeah, it's
and these are guys who are playing tackle football, not touch football, as Mike pointed out. They're hitting. Now, they aren't hitting full pads yet, but they are hitting nonetheless, and that hurts. Well, apparently, Tony didn't take very kindly to it. Threw the ball, and here comes Travis Kelsey, and he says to Karlaftis, hey, what are you doing? This is our team, man. So will there be bad feelings? Maybe for 24 hours, but that's training camp, and the Chiefs are hardly the only ones who have this happen. It happens all over the league. It's part of football, and the coaches sometimes encourage something like this.
Oh, yeah. They love that stuff.
Get your bad blood out, as a matter of fact.
We talking about practice? So Cardinals were in action yesterday. How'd they do?
Didn't do well, and this is what has me puzzled about the game of baseball, because you simply cannot predict what's going to happen. The night before, the Cardinals face arguably the best pitcher in the major leagues, in the Skeens kid from the Pittsburgh Pirates, LSU All-America, Air Force Academy, initially a student there. Anyway, Skeens is nothing but almost unhittable, if you say that. Well, he hadn't lost a game. The Cardinals score a run in the ninth inning and beat him 2-1. That was 2 nights ago. So yesterday at late morning game, noontime game, they come out and they face a guy named Martin Perez, who is really like a journeyman. He's been around with several teams, big lefty from Venezuela. 2 wins, 5 losses. That's his record. Well, this is going to be duck soup for the Cardinals. They can't touch him. He holds the Cardinals to 4 hits and shuts them out 5-0. How do you explain that? You beat the best pitcher in the game and you lose to a journeyman. That is baseball. Anyway, the Cardinals fell 5-0. Didn't get any, well, they did get hits, but 4 or 5 of them, somewhere around there. And that's not enough in collection to win a game. Anyway, Cardinals take today off and then get set for a weekend series against the Washington Nationals, a very beatable team. All that on the agenda. Cardinals still very much in contention, probably at this point for a wild card berth, but we'll see what happens. Still a long way to go.
Long way to go, and in the AL Central with the Kansas City Royals, they are tied with the Twins right now, but they're both 5 games behind those Guardians.
All right, the Twins, however, came from behind in the 8th inning and beat the Philadelphia Phillies yesterday, but here the Royals are down to the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think it was 8-3 at one time. Kansas City came back in the 9th inning, but not quite enough. Now, the Diamondbacks, folks, are not chopped liver. They're a very good baseball team. In the World Series last year, what do you want? Anyway, Arizona beats the Kansas City Royals 8-6. And that sets the stage for another series coming up a little bit later on. And that's a tough loss for Kansas City. However, a long way to go.
Long way to go. And I know you were over at the Hammonds Field this week watching the game. How'd they do yesterday?
Corpus Christi team, Mike, is the second worst offensive team in the Texas League. They had a team batting average, get this, a team batting average of .219 going into the game 2 nights ago. Well, they didn't get very many hits in that game, and Springfield won at 5-1. .219. Folks, that's ridiculous. You don't have that in the minor leagues. So last night they go out, and what happens? The Cardinals put a kid named Edwin Nunez on the hill. He is 0 for 5. He's now 0 for 6. Corpus Christi wins the game 10-4. The Springfield Catholic kid, Zach Cole, who is playing left field for the Corpus Christi Ball Club, he had 3 hits, 3 for 5, a couple of RBIs, a home run, his 7th. This is a kid who got promoted from the High A Ball Club in Asheville, North Carolina, just back in late May, and he's really made a name for himself. Played at Springfield Catholic back about 4 or 5 years ago, went to Ball State University in Indiana, and now a very high draft choice by the Astros, and hitting very well. Watch out for this kid, Zach Cole. He could very well be a big-timer before too much longer.
So in the Copa tournament, Team USA didn't do so good. Now they get into the Olympic Games in Paris. How'd they do in Game 1?
The Olympics has opened, folks. The competition is underway. Soccer gets underway first because it's such a lengthy tournament. It'll go pretty much the length of the whole Olympics, which is 2 weeks. So the USA played the number 1 team in their pool, and certainly one of the top gold medal favorites played France and lost 3-0. Not, don't want to lose any of them, but a 3-0 loss to a top-level team like France. There's a long way to go. The USA wants to get into that second round now, have to win the rest of their games in their pool, but I think they can do that. But shut out yesterday by one of the top teams in the world.
Yeah, it's a hard wake-up call when Game 1 is against France. Ned, you have a wonderful Thursday, and I'll see you tomorrow.